everybody, and welcome to Mike Nierychlo Online, sharing my love for people, wine, food, and all things made passionately. All right, today's episode, we're talking Nichol Vineyards and a white wine from Nichol Vineyards. I'll tell you about that in a second. Nichol Vineyards, located on the Nierychlo Bench, beautiful Okanagan, British Columbia. Nierychlo Bench, very, just call it epic. Very epic part of the Okanagan for making wine. They're making some good stuff out of there. Now, Nichol Vineyards, let's call them one of the more hidden gems on the Nierychlo Bench. Not so many people know they exist. A lot of people know they exist as well, but they're not the big in-your-face corporate winery. They're the little guys. They're the little guys. They're the farmers. They're out there to make limited production, lower yield, quality wine. That's what they're all about. They want to make terroir-driven wine from a place, good wine. That's it, bar none. That's what their goal is. I like that about them. They're passionate about what they're making. Not to take away from the passion of everybody else around them. Nichol Vineyard, very passionate little winery. All right. They've been around since about 1993. A lot of a neat state growing fruit. We're tasting their white wine on this episode. I got a couple reds for you in the next. All right. I keep calling this a white wine. I guess I shouldn't. It's technically not a white wine. Let's call it a salmon color, or a pink wine. I can't call it a rosé because technically it's not really a rosé. It's not made from red grapes. Rosé is made from red grapes. This is their 2010 Pinot Gris, also known as Pinot Grigio on other parts of the planet or other winemaking styles. You're thinking, huh? Isn't Pinot Gris usually white? Like a white wine color, kind of that just off-white, yellow, golden? Not in this case. Okay, going into educational mode with Mike here. What gives wine its color? For those of you who don't know, the skins of the grape dye the juice. That's what gives wine its color. So typically, big red wines, your Syrahs, your Cabernets, Merlots, typically they sit on the skins for 2 to 3 weeks. That dyes the juice, or dyes the wine, makes it that deep red color. White wines, typically, they're pressed off the skins right away. So there's very little color extraction, and what color extraction there is usually comes from the skins. Now, white wine grapes typically look like this. Now, you should be looking at a picture of white grapes right now. Not so much in the case of Pinot Gris. Pinot Gris, also Pinot Gris, that's where it's coming from. The skins of the grapes, if you didn't know better and you're walking through a vineyard, you would think you're looking at red grapes. They're kind of gray, red, purple, burgundy in color. The skins, they look more like this. All right, typically, they press the wine off right away and you get zero reddish color to it. You just get that nice white wine color. Not in this case. In Nichol's case, they've allowed it to sit on the skins a little bit longer. All you really need to do this is like 24 hours, probably even less than that, to get this little dye to it. I love this color. I think it's super pretty, very elegant color. I'm super stoked to taste this wine. All right, like I said, 2010 Pinot Gris from Nichol. Let's get right into it. I think it's about 20 bucks a bottle for this. Still try it. Like I said, limited production. So get your hands on it. We'll see how this one goes. Just, here we go. Such a pretty color. That's all I can say about it. I really enjoy this color. So Pinot Gris. Now, interesting nose for Pinot Gris. Now, typically with your Pinot Gris, I'm finding a lot of Pinot Gris in here. Typically you get those, let's say, those bright citrus flavors, that lemon lime acidity, maybe a little bit of green apple, that realm. In this case, I'm seeing all that, but there's another layer in there, which I think comes a little bit from the skins. I'm getting a little bit more, let's say, peach meets kind of gooseberry and fresh strawberry, like freshly picked strawberry, just subtle hints of all these flavors. Giving it such a neat other dimension, so many more layers to it. Neat wine. A lot of minerality coming through as well. Like just nice wet stone, nice wet spring gravel driveway. Call it that. All right. And a nice savory note too, almost kind of like a slight sage, something along those lines. Nice nose. That's a good Pinot Gris. I like that. That's a complete Pinot Gris. I'm drinking at room temperature right now, like I do with all my wines. And this is displaying really well. This doesn't need to be chilled or anything. Wow. On the palate, it's got beautiful balanced mouthfeel, great acidity, clean racing acidity at the end, but through the mid-palate, kind of that nice just creamy mouthfeel. It goes through there really well. It's pleasant. I got a bit of that kind of apple meets pineapple meets hints of fresh strawberry. A little bit floral. Definitely that minerality. A little bit of kind of gooseberry. And again, that savory, almost sagey note or something. I like this wine. This is a really nice wine. It's a good $20 Pinot Gris. Look for this one. Definitely look for this one. Again, under screw cap, keeping things fresh, ready to drink right away. This episode's running to about 5 minutes, so I'm going to cut it here, but hope you learned something about Pinot Gris, slightly darker colored grape. Thank you so much for watching today. Oh, gotta rate this wine. Check out my wine rating system as well, if you get a second. You know what? I'm going to call this a great Pinot Gris. Call it a great Pinot Gris. Well done, Nichol. Thanks for watching, and remember, wine, deep pretentious eyes. We'll see you in the next episode for the red grapes from Nichol.